Today, Russian mercenaries are on our northern border. Burkina Faso has now entered into an arrangement to go along with Mali in employing the Wagner Forces there. I believe a mine in southern Burkina has been allocated to them as a form of payment for their services. Prime Minister of Burkina Faso in the last 10 days has been in Moscow. And to have them operating on our northern border is particularly distressing for us in Ghana. Apart from not accepting the idea of great powers once again making Africa their theater of operation, we have a particular position that you know about over the Ukraine war, where we have been very, very vocal and upfront about condemning the invasion of Russia by Russia. And therefore, they're now to have this group at our borders is a matter of some considerable disquiet and concern for us.
Hello everybody, welcome once again to AfriPost. I believe wherever you're watching us from, you're doing great. Now, in many instances, we've always told you that African leaders are always very strong and they're not ready to really get compromised, especially those who are true to the aspirations of their citizens. But one President, Nana Akufo Addo, really surprised many because when he got to power, people thought he would really advocate for things that affect the nationals. And also, as a president, he is also an ambassador of Africa because every African leader is representative of what Africa is. So there is this instance where Nana Akufo Addo was meeting with Secretary of State of United States, Antony Blinken. And what they discussed here surprised many because this really departed from what we knew Nana Akufo Addo to be. Kindly watch this and let's talk about it after the video.
So this is a very good occasion, but it's a particularly good occasion because we greatly value Ghana's leadership and your leadership in West Africa, the important efforts on regional security. We're strong partners, including on the UN Security Council, which we greatly value, partners for democracy and security in West Africa, and we greatly appreciate the peacekeeping contributions that Ghana makes, but also just more broadly, your own leadership for peace, for security, for democracy. Many challenges, but we're grateful to actually be facing them together, and really pleased to have you here this week for the summit. So thank you, Mr. President. Appreciate the time.
So, Mr. Secretary, thank you very much. We'll just thank the American government for the invitation to participate in this summit. I think it's a summit that's been long overdue. I believe it's the second. The last time was what, over 10 years ago? Yeah, perhaps we should be doing it more. But it's good that it has happened. It gives us an opportunity to talk about many common threats and challenges that we have, which you've identified. And particularly for us, to be able to put into relief where we are. Yesterday I had I was part of an extremely useful meeting with the people from the Congress to come and talk about security matters. I believe that, Madam, you were there, you were part of the meeting. And its significance for us. And I think that beyond everything, that is a matter that I want to urge upon you. Today, Russian mercenaries are on our northern border. Burkina Faso has now entered into an arrangement to go along with Mali in employing the Wagner Forces there. I believe a mine in southern Burkina has been allocated to them as a form of payment for their services. Prime Minister of Burkina Faso in the last 10 days has been in Moscow. And to have them operating on our northern border is particularly distressing for us in Ghana. Apart from not accepting the idea of great powers once again making Africa their theater of operation, we have a particular position that you know about over the Ukraine war, where we have been very, very vocal and upfront about condemning the invasion of Russia by Russia. And therefore, they're now to have this group at our borders is a matter of some considerable disquiet and concern for us. We really like to have a privileged opportunity to talk about its implications and what we believe ought to be the case. This is what took place with the discussion in the Congress yesterday, which I found very fruitful. And I would like that the themes of that discussion should be the themes that we should continue to address. To what extent we can have you as a partner in confronting these threats. It is very important that ECOWAS and the West African area remains a democratic space. It's the reason for the actions we took over the coup d'etats in Burkina Faso, in Mali, and in Guinea. And ECOWAS has been very consistent in refusing to deal with these governments because of the undemocratic nature of their accession to power. The commitment to democratic values and institutions is a high priority for our states. We in Ghana have been through all kinds of arrangements, governance arrangements in the past, one-party state, all kinds of experiments have taken place. And our people are now very clear in their mind. They want to go down the avenue of democratic engagement. And that is why the last 30 years of the Fourth Republic have been the most stable in our country's history. We want to do everything to preserve that. But there are enemies of democracy who are working hard in West Africa today. And therefore, it's important that we bring that matter to your notice and see to what extent we can engage you as a reliable partner in the pushback of those forces. There are other areas, of course, of great significance too, the cooperation for economic growth and for the development and for the making of prosperity for our people, which is to some extent part and parcel of the same fight. Because if the young people have things to do, they're not going to be recruits for terrorist forces. So all of that is part and parcel. But specifically, what we can do about the terrorist threat in West Africa is now the major security concern of all our states, especially the coastal states, that up till now, to the last 6 months, have been relatively free of this threat. But now on all our common borders of Benin, Togo, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, are these forces that are operating there. And we have to find a way to be able to respond, and respond effectively to protect our populations.
Now, after listening to that speech, you'd really understand that it shows that Nana Akufo Addo was not kind of in support of the relationship that Burkina Faso was having with Russia and even China. So, having been appreciated as a leader of the West African nations, he believed that everything that happens in West Africa should also affect him. So, some people have really wondered why he had to speak like he spoke, because it's like he wants to sell out other countries. What is it that he's going to seek for in United States because of the Burkina Faso's engagement with Russia? That is like trying to please somebody. You know, many times I've produced videos talking about Nana Akufo Addo and everything, and there are those who really appreciate the kind of challenges that have come under President Nana Akufo Addo. And then there are those who really think that I am really targeting their president and I do not want the best out for their country. But my main aim here is to really expose our leaders in Africa and really tell the truth as it is. Formerly, when Nana Akufo Addo was speaking, he spoke well about Africa. He really stood and said that Africa can no longer continue to depend on Western's aid to really develop itself, because until Africa understands how to use its resources, only then can Africa grow. But then we find that this meeting that he had with Antony Blinken, he projects himself as somebody who is really into receiving this aid. He's not somebody who can make Africa stand on its own. Please tell me down in the comment section what you think about this thing that Nana Akufo Addo did. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you're watching us for the first time. Like this video and also share. Thank you, and may the good Lord bless you. Goodbye.